Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to a brand new video. Today I have the new SBL Study Bible, including apocryphal and deuterocanonical books. This is the first look. This just came out. I got it on a pre-order from Amazon, so it was cheaper than what it is today if you were to get it. And this is the latest HarperCollins Study Bible with the new Revised Standard Version updated edition. And so if you own the HarperCollins Study Bible, you can see here, previously titled HarperCollins Study Bible. So this is the latest edition of the HarperCollins Study Bible. They have renamed it as the Society of Biblical Literature, and that's what SBL stands for, Study Bible. So the SBL Study Bible is literally the HarperCollins Study Bible. It is the updated version with just a different name. Let's open it up. And it comes with a dust jacket, and the price here states, you can't see, but the price here states that it is $50 US. You can see $50 US and 62 Canadian dollars. I did not pay $50 US. I paid around $30 US or so because I got it on a pre-order, and so it was cheaper. We're going to remove the dust jacket here, and we're going to look at the new SBL, Society of Biblical Literature Study Bible. So it is the same. It is the same as the dust jacket is the same as the hardcover. This is the one in hardcover edition version. Let me just raise up my camera here a bit so you can see it much better. Let's set this up. Right, so this is a flip through. This is what you're gonna get. Paper material here is thicker, and then the rest is just the same. It's about this 25 or 30 GSM paper, which is not really good, but it helps keep the Bible from being enormous. And so this is HarperCollins, Harper One, actually an imprint of HarperCollins publisher. And so this is the HarperCollins Study Bible technically. This is the 2023 edition. You can see right here. So this is the latest one. Now I have to say that this is actually a disappointment. For those of you who have been using the HarperCollins Study Bible, you know that it is actually a disappointment. It is not as good as the Catholic Study Bible, which I've reviewed. And the Catholic Study Bible is still the best study Bible in the market today because of its introduction, as well as because of its review of every single book of the Bible. Yeah, please watch my please watch my Catholic Study Bible video. Now this is the NRSV updated edition. The NRSV is an update of the RSV, which was chaired by Professor Bruce Metzger, and this one is the updated of the new Revised Standard Edition. This one is more liberal. The RSV is a great translation. It is still a great translation. I still uses the RSV. The NRSV is a not so good translation, and the NRSV UE I can't say because I've not read an extensive amount, and I've not actually compared it with the Greek, right? Because you need to compare it with the Greek to know if it's actually a good translation or not. And so here we have the general editors. I will not read to you. This is boring. And you can see here the subject essays. The subject essays, meaning the essays in this study Bible, is very limited. You can see here these are all the essays, and you're going to see. And these are all the introductions. The introductions are also ridiculous. It's not really worth having it at all, right? But the notes are great, as HarperCollins Study Bible previously was. It is still a great note, right? But it is an updated note, you find here. And so we begin with biblical measurements, introduction to the Bible, right? This is page 1. You can see the first page, and you have these articles: the composition of the Bible, archaeological period. This is very interesting because right now I'm actually researching on biblical archaeology, and so I've been reading quite a number of works on biblical archaeology, and it is actually important for those interested to actually know. And I'm glad that they have this. The HarperCollins Study Bible do not have this breakdown, at least if I remember correctly. And so we have images here. We have the Roman Catholic Old Testament, different from Protestant. And so we have some images here, which is great because the HarperCollins Study Bible does not contain images. And then you will also find throughout the I just kicked my camera. You also find throughout this Study Bible sidebars like this, right? You'll have it on the side, as you're gonna see, and you also have like an excerpt or articles, and then they ask you to go to BibleOdyssey.org in order for you to learn more. But it is interesting, and so that is it actually. 12 pages of introduction to the Bible, and then we kickstart the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, and it begins with the ancient Near East, an overview of the ancient Near East. The articles is not really exhaustive, and so this study Bible, I would say, is recommend for people that are studying in liberal seminaries, because if they're studying in conservative seminaries, they will not use the SBL or the HarperCollins or the Oxford. They'll probably use the NIV, the ESV Study Bibles, and so forth. Again, the articles here, by the way, before I mention it, you can see here the name of the deities. You can see the breakdown of the deities in ancient Turkey, Anatolia, Canaan, which is Palestine today, Egypt, Israel. These two actually. Canaan is more towards Lebanon side. Mesopotamia, which is Iraq, the Fertile Crescent, and then Persia, obviously, is Iran. Then you also have articles Zoroastrianism, Zoroastrianism. I don't know how to pronounce it, man. I can't speak today. And so you have images here. You can find images on Google, so on and so forth. So it's not really a plus point for me. And then you have the name of the author here. What I was looking for when I pre-order this, because there's you can't preview these books on Amazon. Once I got it, I started searching for the articles. Whenever I got a study Bible or a biblical commentary, I always count the number of articles that are in the study Bible. And it is very disappointing because there could have been so much more articles that actually explain the very books of the Bible. And so for students, and even for professionals, but more so for students and laymen, people like me, laymen, we want to have as much article as possible, because just put yourself in the shoes of someone who cannot really afford a lot of literatures, and so they could only afford to own maybe 1 or 2 copies of the study Bible. And the SBL, the Society of Biblical Literature, have been recommended heavily by scholars, and so I mean the HarperCollins Study Bible previously, right? And so the HarperCollins Study Bible has been recommended by a lot of scholars, and so that is the reason why I got the HarperCollins Study Bible to begin with. But it turns out the HarperCollins Study Bible is nowhere near the Catholic Study Bible. And the Catholic Study Bible, even though it is called Catholic, but it was published by Oxford University Press, and so it is, it has its Catholic leanings, but overall it's still liberal, and there's a lot of articles in that study Bible. And so I wish the SBL committee, the Society of Biblical Literature committee, could actually produce something much better, because the Catholic Study Bible was a few years ago, was published a few years ago, and they have all this time to actually match to that standard in terms of the introduction to the books of the Bible, introduction to like the text and so forth, and even a general introduction to the Bible, the articles is what I meant. And so you can see here, from page 20, which is from page 12, Introduction to the Bible, we have only about 30 pages or so of introduction to, the Old Testament. 30 pages of introduction to the Old Testament, and this is very disappointing, because there's a lot you can talk about. You can talk about the geography, you can talk about how the philosophy of the time, you can talk about the gods and the directions and so on and so forth, but all these are absent. All these are not found. These are not found in this study Bible, and so this is a disappointment. And you can see here the book of Genesis, right, just have about 6 pages of introduction. Whereas if you compare it to the Catholic Study Bible, you have, I think about 15 pages, 10 to 15 pages of introduction. And then when you actually go to the book itself, you still get an introduction. Please watch my Catholic Study Bible video. This is a this is a huge disappointment, because I was hoping that the SBL committee could actually produce like a one-off study Bible that contains a lot of information, but this is basically the same the same thing that they have done, that they had done with the HarperCollins Study Bible, which does not contain a lot of articles and are very shallow, doesn't go into details, and so this is a disappointment. And so you can see here, as I mentioned just now, you find sidebars. You have a lot of them everywhere, right? And the great thing about this is you have the title. Right, you have the title. The Catholic Study Bible has the title as well. And the notes here, they didn't really do much, just like the HarperCollins Study Bible. They did not actually bother to maybe put a gray background or something like that, so that it is much easier to see. And if you actually look closely, there's a lot of bleed, and so the texts are not actually aligned. You can see here one example of bleed, and you can see here this is a mess. If you read it under the light, it is a mess. You can see here, and so the texts are not really aligned, and this makes it quite difficult to read. And so this is again something that they could have done a lot better. Well, they have an entire decade or so to do this. And again, the articles here on the sidebar, you do get like Let's just flip to the book of Kings here. Right, this is the introduction, and you do get the structure here, which is great. But every study Bible that I own has this, and so this is nothing new. Yeah, but the I don't think it is a comfort print, but it is a good print. At least they have a different font for the notes. Now the notes are also disappointing because it doesn't actually go into details. I know that I'm being harsh here on this study Bible, but it is actually a disappointment. Like literally, it is a disappointment. And so, if you own the HarperCollins Study Bible, there's actually not a need for you to get this, because it is just the translation. Right, the translation has changed. Obviously, the articles is new as well. But if you look at biblical research for the past 20 years, also there's not a lot of changes. And I think that the only reason why they do this, they do the new HarperCollins Study Bible, is because they have recently done in 2021 the NRSV updated edition. Right, so they do need to have a study Bible that actually reflects that. But again, as I've shown you, it is previously called the HarperCollins Study Bible. And so if you own the HarperCollins Study Bible, there's no point for you to actually spend $50 USD to actually get this one. You are much better off getting the Catholic Study Bible, even as a Protestant, right? And so we'll turn to the New Testament. This is the deuterocanonical books, the Apocrypha. Right, it was introduction to the Apocrypha. Not a lot of introductory works. The Hellenistic world, you have the same article. Not the same content, the same article in the HarperCollins Study Bible. The only thing I wish is that they would go deeper into the philosophy. Right, the beginning of the archaic philosophy, whereby you have the Ionian philosophy, philosophers who are not concerned about God, and then you have the Pythagoreans who are concerned about God, so on and so forth. Obviously, all these are through the works of Aristotle, right? Because in the ancient world, the philosophers they actually wrote in the name of their teachers. So we do not know which is the teachings of the Pythagoreans and which the teachings of the Neo-Pythagoreans, the students of Pythagoras, the Pythagorean school. But yeah, it doesn't talk a lot about the wisdom. I know in the Gospel of John, if you read Raymond Brown's Anchor Bible Commentary, it has the wisdom similar to the Logos understanding. But anyway, we're going to move to the New Testament. Right, so we'll move to the New Testament. The wisdom of Solomon, Sirach. So these are all the apocryphal books. As Ecclesiasticus, or the wisdom of Jesus, son of Sirach. Yeah, so this is another Jesus here. There's a lot of Josephus mentions quite a number of Jesus. And so Jesus is not the only Jesus, right? In the ancient world, in the 1st century. And so you have books such as Bel and the Dragon, right? Chapter 14 of the Greek version of Daniel, or Daniel, the book of Susanna, even you have. So all these books that, if you are into Greek mythology, this will have a lot of relevance for you. Obviously, the Maccabees, we have the Maccabees, right? Esdras. Alright, so now we go to the New Testament. Alright, so we have 4 Maccabees, which is good. right? The New Testament is, is just this chunk from page 1709 all the way to about 2194 also. And so it's about 500 pages, 400 pages. Let's just count it, 500 pages. 500 pages of New Testament. They could have actually jam-packed this with articles. But you can see here the New Testament articles, I've looked at it before, is disappointing. It doesn't actually go in depth. Now, it could be that this study Bible is aimed towards beginners, but a lot of college professors recommend this, the HarperCollins, and so it is meant for students. And so if it's meant for students and not for like lay person, meaning students interested in biblical literature, that means they should have actually included articles that could have been useful for the students. But as you can see here, the articles are just basic articles, and if you own an introductory text like Introduction to the New Testament by Bart Ehrman or Raymond Brown, you would have already know all this information, and it is not actually relevant for you, right? The historical Jesus, Bart Ehrman has 100-page on the historical Jesus in his introduction to the New Testament. And so we talk about the difference, what is the gospel, what are the gospels, what kind of genre are the gospels, and so forth. And then that's it. We have the Gospel of Matthew. And even the introduction to the Gospel of Matthew, it's terrible. This is nothing compared to the Catholic Study Bible. You have the genealogy of Jesus the Messiah, an account of the genealogy of Jesus the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham was the father of Isaac, and Isaac the father of Jacob. Right? And then we have Mark Allen Powell, who wrote Matthew here. And the notes here are also, again, it is not meant to go deeper, because this is not a one-volume commentary series. But then again, you have, even in the New Testament, you get these sidebars and so forth. Yeah, but anyway, ladies and gentlemen, my conclusion to the amount of things that I found in the Study Bible is disappointing, because the Catholic Study Bible that I own is still the best Study Bible, and I thought when I pre-ordered the SBL it will beat the Catholic Study Bible, but in fact my ESV Study Bible is much better than this. And so if you want a new translation, you don't need to, because you can go to Bible Hub and you have the translation. But either way, if you have not owned any liberal Study Bible and you want to have a take on what it's like to read a liberal Study Bible, then you can read the SBL Study Bible. But if you already own a lot of Study Bibles, and if you're in there, if you're a student in college who studies biblical literatures, or even if you are an enthusiast like myself, who have been learning this stuff for decades, then there's no need for you to actually get this spend your 50 USD and get the SBL Study Bible. If you already own the HarperCollins Study Bible, I don't see the point of getting this one, because if you look at the past 2 decades also, or even the past decades also, not a lot of research that actually change the academic world, right? It wasn't like when E.P. Sanders wrote his Jesus and Palestinian Judaism book, or when in the 80s, in the 90s, that really changed the course, or the Q document, for example, so on and so forth. It doesn't even go to the extent of talking about the Markan priority, the Q, the Friar theory, so on and so forth. And so it doesn't even go to the extent, and so it will not actually add a lot of information for you. However, if you have not owned any study Bible, I don't think I would recommend this to you. You're much better off if you want to get a liberal study Bible, get the Catholic study Bible. If you want a more conservative, orthodox, more not really orthodox, more conservative study Bible, then I would recommend you the NIV or even the ESV. But this is the new translation. But the notes here, the amount of information that you're gonna get, the amount of teachings that you're gonna receive by reading through this work is not a lot. You're much better off actually buying Introduction to the New Testament or Introduction to the Old Testament, and you'll learn a lot more than just reading the articles and actually reading the notes here. So this is it, my review of the SBL Study Bible. I do not wish to actually bash this study Bible. I had a lot of high hopes for it when I pre-ordered it, and so it is a disappointing study Bible, because I already have a lot of study Bibles that actually, in terms of its article and the teachings that you find in it, it blew this off the cliff. But yeah, anyway, without bashing this study Bible too much, I will end the video here. Will I return this? Most probably not, because it's also important to have the notes here, and that is the only reason why I will keep this. If the notes are exactly the same and the articles are exactly the same, then I will not keep it, because I already have it, right? If it's just a translation, then what's the point? But I have a feeling, I've not really done a strict comparison, but I have a feeling that a lot of the notes are recycled, just like a lot of if you have the Zondervan, they recycle a lot of the notes, and if you have like the MacArthur Study Bible and the MacArthur Biblical one volume Bible commentary, they basically have the same notes, the same commentary, and so they just recycle it. But anyway, that's it, guys. You can make your own decision if you want to buy it, if you have the HarperCollins. But this is definitely better than the Oxford Annotated Study Bible. Definitely better than the Oxford Annotated Study Bible. And so I'll see you on my next video. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.